back to Cityline. With me, I have a trinity of powerhouses, and they're here to talk about a word I love, and I'm going to find a way to incorporate this word into my vocabulary more often. And the word is trash octopus. And if you don't know what that is, well, you're about to find out. Please join me in welcoming Rosemary Panicani. You are the director of Tacoma Ocean Fest, among a million other things that you do well. Welcome back, Rosemary. It's good to have you.
Thanks, Amanda. It's good to be here.
And then you brought with you Nicole Rathburn. Hello there, Miss Nicole. You are the artist, but you are also the co-creator of what we are going to learn is Trashoctopus. Welcome to Cityline.
Thank you.
And of course, rounding this out with this great name, Claire Keller Schultz. You are Planning and Asset Management Administrator for our beloved Metro Parks. Hello, Claire. Good to see you.
Hi, thanks for having me on today.
Great to have you on. So, all right, Rosemary, last time we had you on, you were Zooming from New Zealand. Is that right? Australia. That's right. Good. I knew it was one of those very warm, loving, great places that people always want to live in. And we were just talking about the start of Ocean Fest. It was that weekend, I think it was starting, and you were flying in. So tell me, we didn't talk about this, but what is Trashoctopus and where can people find it and where can we see it?
So yes, the Trashoctopus is a giant sculpture made of metal, painted orange, in the shape of a giant Pacific octopus, but it is actually also a trash can, hence the name. And it's traveling around Tacoma Parks this month as part of Tacoma Ocean Fest. So Ocean Fest is the one-day festival, but it's also a whole month of events, and this is part of it.
I love that. So before you kind of go into some more details, what's the point? I mean, I love art, but I always think, what were they thinking when they made this? So what is the point of a giant metal octopus that eats garbage?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And it's basically to raise our awareness of pollution in the ocean. So you may know this, other people may know this. You know, humans make about 300 million tons of plastic pollution every year. And about 9 million of it tons goes into the ocean. In fact, like 80% of all the trash in the ocean starts on land. So we're maybe not deliberately throwing it in there. Maybe it's like escaping our trash collections, or, we thought we put it in the recycling, but it actually goes to landfill and then it blows away. All sorts of reasons that it gets there. But when it's there, it's so bad for the environment, for the animals that live there. It harms them, it kills them, and eventually makes its way back into our bodies, which is really bad. So bad thing. And so that's the point of the Trashoctopus, is to just be a really fun reminder to people that we need to reduce our trash and keep it where it belongs, on land, in our bins.
Beautifully said, my dear. Nicole, you made this sculpture along with your fellow artist, Ed Krupa.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you made it from start to finish. And who woke up at 4:12 in the morning and went, I have a sketch, look.
Yeah. Well, Rosemary had approached us with this idea of making a giant octopus trash can. So we designed it together and just wanted to make something that was going to be really easy to set up and take down, because it needed to be moved around and trash needed to be emptied out of it. So we worked on the sketches together and submitted those back to Rosemary. And once she signed off on that, we basically just bought a bunch of steel rebar and bent it into circles and welded it all to another frame, and then stretched the whole thing with chicken wire, which was very pokey. So it was a pretty scratchy day here at the studio. But yeah, and then it kind of just came, once we got the shape drawn out and figured out the dimensions and everything, it came together pretty easily. We're really happy with how it came out.
I always love the stories of creation, because art influences cultural behavior. So let it be known at this moment in the art world of Tacoma, it is now okay to put garbage in art.
Yeah, I
Only
love
at
that.
this moment. Okay, so parents, please tell your children only the trash octopus, nothing outside of that. Nicole, you've made, both you and Ed have made a lot of public art before. Ed created the bronze fishing floats with sea creatures down at the Foss Waterway. You have the sci-fi inspired sculpture at the Dune Peninsula Park. What are some of the things that you think about besides kids throwing garbage into trash octopus when you make public art?
Definitely where it's going to be sited. You want to make something that is going to work with where it's going and really activate the space is what we usually say. You want to think about safety and how people are going to be interacting with it, and just kind of give something that viewers can look forward to. Make kind of like I'm trying to think of the right word for it, just kind of a destination point.
Yeah.
Is what we really try to create when we're putting something out there, especially something permanent. I know when Ed did the floating life forms down the Foss Waterway, he also got a lot of, community feedback, which I think is also really important. Thinking about like the environment, where it's going and what else kind of lives there.
Claire, speaking of public opinions, you are a curator, you manage Metro Park's Tacoma Public Art Collection. And boy, if there was ever invisible print about you better have an opinion, that's the job to receive the opinion. What did you think in terms of Rosemary proposed taking an octopus trash can sculpture around Tacoma parks?
Well, as you mentioned in the beginning of the segment, just the name is really evocative, Trashoctopus. And so when I saw that, come through my inbox, I was really intrigued. Most of my work is with permanent public art. And so the idea of a temporary installation that's also a functional trash can was really interesting to me. I love the idea because it does fit so well with Metro Parks' own goals in terms of environmental stewardship and educating folks about how our actions impact our surrounding, especially the natural world. So we were really motivated to find a way to make it work. And there's a little bit of a, how can we fit a temporary piece like this into our usual process, which is more geared towards permanent art. But I'm really happy we were able to make it work. It's such a great opportunity to invite the public to really engage with the education and not realizing they're being taught something.
Oh, absolutely. So Claire, what does art do for us when it's out in a park?
One of my kind of big takeaways from art in general is it helps us look at things in a new way, kind of sparks us to consider different approaches. And in parks, I think this is especially true because you're looking at a physical space in a new way. So kind of as Nicole mentioned, in terms of the location is really important. I just think having public art in a park helps you think about the park in a new way and how you relate to the space, both recreationally and as kind of, part of your environment.
Well said. And for you, Nicole, can art, in your opinion, as an artist, help us care about our environment, or is it just eye candy?
I think it can. I think art definitely, especially when it's out in the public and available to everybody, can really bring awareness to all kinds of different issues. And if somebody, has some fun throwing some trash into an octopus, maybe they'll think to pick up trash later on, So yeah, I think it can spark that in people for sure.
Oh, I think you're right. I mean, I've stood by families that when they've been looking at art in the park, and the conversations are priceless and they are educational. For a little child to say, why are we feeding an octopus trash? Well, that's the golden question right there. Rosemary, how are people reacting to trash octopus?
Well, it's just like what you were saying just now, Nicole. It's spurs people to ask questions and it helps them have fun. One little kid came up. So the octopus, the trash octopus, debuted on June 5th at a beach cleanup that Ocean Fest partnered with some community partners on. Well, first of all, we got over 200 people at the cleanup, which was pretty awesome. But and they all loved it, taking photos of the Trashoctopus and feeding it and all this sort of stuff. And one little kid comes up and says, I think I'm going to call it Trashy. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And then he turns to his mum and says, so can I feed Trashy? Can I get some trash and put trash into Trashy? I mean, he was just there, like he got it right away. And the mom was like, sure, let's get some trash. And I'm like, yeah, let's get some trash. So that's the kind of reaction we're getting. People are wandering past saying, wow, this is a cool idea. And people are saying, makes me want to go pick up trash off the beach. And I'm like, yeah, please do. So that's kind of the whole point. It's getting a lot of attention on social media and stuff like that, because it's obviously very visual. And I'm hoping it'll have a life beyond this month as well. So,
well, from your mouth to the powers that be ear, I was just thinking, can we have this permanently? So, Rosemary, where can people see Trashoctopus next?
So, good question. This weekend on Saturday, June 19th, the Trashoctopus will be at Swan Creek Park, which is sort of along the Ruston Way waterfront, kind of in the middle, but where one of the streams feeds down into the water, which is good for us to think of because, streams carry stuff down to the waterfront, including trash. The following weekend, I'm so excited about this. On Saturday, the 26th, it's going to be at Swan Creek Park near the community garden area, as part of a big Swan Creek cleanup that Ocean Fest is doing in partnership with Pierce Conservation District, BT Radio Universal, the East Tacoma Leadership Collaborative, the Piazza Crew, all sorts of people. We're cleaning up Swan Creek, and the Trashoctopus will be there to help. And then the Sunday, the 27th, grand finale at Dune Peninsula. I'm hoping to set up not too far away from Nicole's other permanent sculpture, the Little Makers.
Well, if I know the three of you, you'll be directing people to go back and forth. There'll be like just this hairpin line back and forth between them. Rosemary, I know that it takes a village to clean up, but to also make wonderful things like art in the park. Are there people or groups that you'd like to thank before we say goodbye?
Yeah, well, obviously, major thanks to Nicole and Ed for making this amazing sculpture. Big thanks to Metro Parks for letting us take it around the place. And the Foss Waterway Seaport also hosted it during the festival. And big thanks to Tacoma Creates and the Bamford Foundation for giving us the money to do it. So all those people, thank you.
And a huge thank you to all three of you from us here at Cityline. What a beautiful gift of knowledge, awareness, and art you have given our grit city. So I thank you so, so much for all you've done. The teams that you represent that we can't get on our Zoom screen, please tell them thank you for us as well. And ladies, get some rest. All right, that wraps up another great segment of Cityline. It is always a pleasure and a privilege to be in your home. Zooming from my kitchen table, we have given you some really wonderful things to investigate in this last hour. So please go out there, wear your mask, continue to keep yourself socially distanced in big groups, and above all, get yourself vaccinated. And then join in on these great things that we've been talking about. And when you come back, I'll be waiting for you right here at Cityline. Take care.
Tacoma is my home, from the fires to the dawn. Tacoma is my home, yeah, Tacoma, that's my home. Tacoma, that's my home, place I call my own. Tacoma, that's my home, yeah, Tacoma, that's my home. Oh, you're from Seattle, oh, you're from LA, oh, you're from Chicago, but Tacoma's where you'll stay. Oh, you're from Seattle, oh, you're from LA, oh, you're from Chicago, but Tacoma's where you'll stay, yeah. Tacoma, that's my home, from the fires to the dawn. Tacoma, that's home. Tacoma is my home. The place I call